Joining me from London is writer, broadcaster and author Esther Krakue. Esther, great to see you again. What have you reflected on in Islamophobia Awareness Month, the month when we must address our apparently irrational fear of Islam?
Well, I think the biggest conclusion that I and everyone else I know has drawn is that our governing classes, our ruling elite, are utterly useless. Would you believe that here in Britain, our smug commentariat and a cabal of politicians have been whinging more about Donald Trump's victory than the fact that these men who systemically raped and abused and groomed young, mostly white working class girls in the north of England, they had nothing to say about the fact that they've been in prison for a total of 223 years between them. And there was a very distinct characteristic that most of us would notice, but apparently Westminster is blind. Just a few of the names of the people that were convicted: Amir Shaban, Malik Qadir, Mohammed Ziarab, Imran Raja Yassin, Kamran Amin. There was one guy called Craig, if we want to find something else in that. But you know, the people that govern Britain in particular, and most of the Western world, they are so happy to put their heads in the sand and not realize that actually, while multiculturalism is an important part of liberalism, liberalism doesn't seem to be an important part of multiculturalism. And if you import people from parts of the world where anti-Semitism is rife, where violence against women and girls is rife, where the values that we hold dear is virtually non-existent in those countries that they're so desperate to flee, you are going to turn Western countries into a place where anti-Semitism is more common, where violence against women and girls is more common, where liberalism and freedom of speech and the things that we hold dear will become more and more diluted in communities that don't feel the need to integrate. I mean, would you believe that there are communities in this country, in Britain, where you have people that have lived in Britain for 30, 40, 50 years that don't even speak English? And for some reason, it's racist to point that out.
If you're trying to shock me, Esther, you fail, because in Australia, the census, our census, shows that nearly 1 million Australians out of a population of about 26 million have little or no English, self-reported. So, yes, I'm afraid that is, you wonder how they can engage in a society they can barely communicate with. Now, Remembrance Day, I should point out, by the way, the youngest of those girls who was raped was 12. And if that's not of interest to the Britain's ruling class, they don't deserve to have the power they've got. Remembrance Day, again, identity politics, Esther, how toxic it is. I complained on tonight's show about that, even on this day, Remembrance Day. But I have to say that nothing here comes close to what happened at the Celtic game in Scotland on the weekend, where fans interrupted the minute silence for the British dead by booing and singing IRA songs. Here they are.
Some people just can't respect the minute of silence.
Esther, what sickness are we hearing there?
Well, unfortunately, I can even cite a worse example of pro-Palestine marches in Birmingham on Remembrance Sunday. Now, apparently the police were able to negotiate with these protesters and get them to have the decency to hold it after the 1 minute silence. But they still held this protest in Birmingham on a day to commemorate not only the millions of people that have died in service of this country, but also amongst them 500,000 Muslims who have died in service of this country. So not only do these people not know their history, not only do they not care, not only do they despise the West and their values, they can't even take a day off to commemorate people that were 10 times bolder than them, who died in service of their freedoms that they're exercising on the very day that we should be commemorating these people. And this is why I say, when you bring people to this country that hate the West, that hate Western values, that have no interest in integrating or becoming a part of the social fabric, this is what happens. And this is what you see. You see these grotesque images of people. I mean, I saw on the BBC veterans who are 102 years old that were at the cenotaph, that were in tears, so grateful for the love and support that they were being shown. And yet, if you just do a quick pan to Birmingham, you're seeing something completely different, and we're supposed to tolerate that.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, you got me there. You got me there. You're talking, of course, of the servicemen who died from India, which then included Pakistan as well. Esther Krakue, great to talk to you again. Thank you so much indeed.